Hi everyone, I am Logos Rhonda of Logos Laura Tri Ministry. A hospital of clean is things unseen with the natural eye. Let me tell you why. A hospital of clean is where people come and they get deliverance, where they get healing, they get encouragement, they learn to love themselves and they learn to deal with other persons and communicate in the right way, physically, mentally, and holistically. And today we have a topic which we are dealing with mental health. And I would like to introduce Dr. Ali Bash, a clinical psychologist. And we will be speaking on mental health to bring better awareness and understanding of what is mental health and learn more what it can do for each and every one of us. And Dr. Ali, who could you give me a little example of mental health?
Okay, so in terms of signs, symptoms, things to look out for.
Yes.
Okay, so basically you're looking at an individual who you know and what you expect of them, how they react. If you are picking up any signs or symptoms of any mental illness or features of any mental illness, it's basically anything that's outside the norm of how this individual is. So, for example, you for example, is very sociable, you're outgoing, you like to enjoy each other's company, you like to go out, you like to eat, you have perfect sleep, you always full of energy. When you work, your attention and concentration is intact, everything is okay. Now all of a sudden you're seeing that you're not eating, you're finding it difficult to sleep, your energy level is low, you have little motivation to do anything, you have less interest in activities, we may be seeing signs of bodily harm, so people who cut, who might dig their skin, who pull their hair, we're looking at things like depressed mood, so your entire mood changes. Yes. We also be mindful of suicidal thoughts, people who might experience or have thoughts of suicide, people who tend to start to feel helpless, hopeless, worthless, they're more isolated, so they're not in groups, or they're not mingling anymore, they just prefer isolation, being by themselves, not talking to anyone. They might be crying uncontrollably for no reason, etc. So those what I call out there were just signs and symptoms of depression, basically. Right?
Okay, so it's a form of it starts with a form of depression, should I say?
No. Those symptoms is actually the symptoms of depression. So if an individual is experiencing those symptoms for a period of at least 2 weeks, we could say that there is the possibility of that individual being diagnosed with depression.
Okay, so from depression, at what stage is this considered mental health?
Right, so mental health incorporates everything, how we act, how we think, how we feel, our emotions, our behaviors, how we deal with things. So for example, both of us might have just lost our jobs. Your reaction is you pray about it, you try looking at other places for employment, you basically are handling it well. Meanwhile, I might go sit down by a rum shop, drink, because I am unable to cope, I'm unable to deal with the stressor, which is losing my job. So everything that incorporates everything around us, divorce, separation, loss of income, loss of job, death of a loved one, all of these things incorporates mental health, and in turn it affects how we act, how we think, and how we believe and perceive things.
So But it starts off, could I say that it starts off with a depression, some sort of depression?
No, not
No,
necessarily.
not necessarily.
It could start off with a stressor. So basically,
Okay.
how mental health will come about could be from a number of different factors.
Mm-hmm.
For example, genes, meaning that if a family member has a particular disorder,
Mm-hmm.
the chances that it could be passed on from one generation to the next.
Mm-hmm.
Classic example, depression and ADHD. It could also be brain chemistry, so there's the alteration of some sort of neurotransmitter, or your serotonin levels have dropped, things like that. As a result, you find yourself becoming depressed.
Right.
Environmental stressors as well. So, like I just mentioned, if there's things like loss of job, loss of income, you get into an accident, you find out that you have stage 4 cancer and a few months to live. That in itself makes you depressed. You start to become depressed. You start developing features of depression, right? So all of these things, biological factors, all of these are usually associated, or what contributes to the beginning of a mental health problem.
Okay. So, is there any way that some from a child,
Mm-hmm.
let's say from birth, after while the child begins to grow,
Mm-hmm.
is there anything? Is there any form of way that you could tell if a child is, because of depression, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
that they are
Child and Family Counseling Training Manager, and I've been with Children's for 18 years. So research around mental health issues in adults have demonstrated that a lot of times these disorders actually start in childhood and adolescence. So a lot of these issues, if left untreated, don't go away. One of the most persistent and prevalent disorders that we work with is really focused on depression. And some of the signs for depression with kids and teens can actually look quite similar to what you see with adults. So there's sadness, there's crying, there's isolation, withdrawal from friends and family. There can be fatigue, problems with sleeping at night, sometimes sleeping too much, sometimes not enough. There can be changes in appetite. There can be feelings of guilt, feelings of worthlessness. They can also have symptoms of suicidal thoughts, thoughts about death and dying.
Highlight the importance of mental wellness, whether or not you have a mental illness. So how do you know if you're doing well or if you need to make changes or seek professional help? Here are 7 questions to ask yourself to do a mental check-in. The first thing you can look at is your life balance. How is your energy distributed between 4 domains in your life? Your physical health, achievements, which include work, school, money, and other accomplishments, relationships, which would be family, friends, acquaintances, and general community life. And then the 4th domain is meaning and future, and this would incorporate your values and goals. These are the main areas where we spend our time and energy. Take a few minutes to think about how much energy you spend in each area. If you work 8 to 10 hours a day, that's a third of your time